DJ Quik is really who people think Dr. Dre is. Music and media in general typically turns into a popularity contest. Let's not get it twisted. Once people get to a certain age and when they've been doing something for a certain length of time, you got some people that start to get a bit disgruntled about the state of the industry and also maybe the progress of their own career. And I think those things kind of create a dynamic where you have people that are a little bit envious of others, and they start to find passive aggressive ways to belittle people that they are envious of. And I especially see it amongst musicians, and very particularly, I see a lot of it in the music producer community, because the music producers tend to be people that are behind the scenes. So it's even worse because you don't often get seen and get credit and all this other stuff. So I think that makes it even more susceptible to envy and hate, especially when you are comparing yourself to people that have visibility, even have popularity, right? Because music and media in general typically turns into a popularity contest. Let's not get it twisted. It's a popularity contest. I don't think a lot of people recognize that or really want to accept that, but it's a popularity contest, y'all. Who's most popular? And people get envious of people that are popular. And I would say a lot of music producers may have a just naturally be in a demeanor and like a personality type today that is probably not going to be chasing popularity or chasing being amongst the crowd, because a modern music producer, modern music composer, modern beat maker, they'll spend a lot of time by themselves, like working on music and ideas and stuff. Now, traditional music producer, they go out, they work in studios, they're working with artists, they're working to create with a multitude of people and have to deal with multitude of personalities and align all those personalities into a single objective in the end. But a lot of us that work in home studios, we work solo a lot of times, unless you invite somebody over, invite musicians over, you start collaborating, then you're working with people. But a lot of us aren't like social butterflies. So then you go back to the music industry, which is a popularity contest, right? So you got a popularity contest and you got people participating that don't necessarily want to be popular, but then they may see people that look like them or people that come from similar backgrounds or perform similar activities. You see them and you may kind of start to question yourself and start to look at, well, why are they so popular? Why are they getting the attention? Why are they getting the accolades? And I do that too, and I'm not getting all the accolades, and I'm not getting all the attention, and I don't like that person gets all this attention. I don't think it's right that person gets all the attention and accolades. So then you got the little hater spirit that starts to come out in music producers, especially because of the accolades that somebody else is getting, and just the desire to be looked at in a similar fashion without necessarily doing even the same work and output in the end. So I think that that's another thing that we have to really explore and kind of decode with the music producer community, is like this kind of jealousy and envy, especially towards those that are getting visibility. Because like I said, music production is typically an invisible activity. Most people listen to music don't know who the music producer is, don't care. And if they don't get credited on the actual album credits and whatnot, then you really wouldn't know. You wouldn't know, and most people ain't gonna look them up and say, oh, let me see who produced this. Oh, I really like that sound. Let me see who actually played the keyboards and who programmed the drums on it, and who. You don't care about that. Care about that at all. So when you see somebody come across and get accolades as a music producer and get put on some type of pedestal, or if you see them in a lot of media, like social media, or if they're on podcast and they're getting, awards and other things, there are producers that will see that and be like, why is that person getting all that? They ain't all that. They ain't all that. Because I know I come across, and if you see me on YouTube and you're like, man, what is this dude? Who is this dude, and why is this dude on my screen, and why are people following him, and why do people care about what he has to say? I don't know him, and I think that I probably could do better stuff than that person is doing, and why should that person have a voice? Why should we care about him? I've seen it. I've seen people get, start to hate on what I'm doing. But it happens at the highest levels too. I'm just talking about like what I've experienced, what I've seen in this past week. It's actually been it's disappointing, man. It's super disappointing. Super disappointing to see some of the stuff that I've seen. The passive aggressive stuff, and just like certain commentary and things that get put on social media towards other producers. I've been seeing like the whole, there's been a little fallout with DJ Quik and Dr. Dre. Two people that helped define my childhood as a music listener, born and raised in Los Angeles. Both of them helped to define my childhood. Top 5 producers for me. I don't even have them ranked as far as like which one's better than which. Dr. Dre, DJ Quik are top 5 music producers. That's why I did my I made a shirt that actually calls out both of them as my top 5 producers. But there's always been like this little like secret war between them somehow. And it kind of surfaced its head again. Like this ain't the first time. And I think one time Quik mentioned the comparison between him and Dr. Dre. And he kind of like was like, no, stop comparing. I don't know why you want to keep comparing me to my bro. That's my bro. Like, I don't stop comparing me to him, and, respect me for what I've done and respect him for what he's done. He had that perspective. But in the past week, I saw Quik post on Threads, and he was responding to somebody else's post that said that DJ Quik is really who people think Dr. Dre is. And that was somebody else's post. DJ Quik didn't say that. But then DJ Quik commented on the post and said, finally, someone had the balls to say it. And I said, oh, man. Why did he say that in public? He probably, listen, a lot of us think that we are better than other producers. Don't get it twisted. But you're it's okay to think you are better, like you have more skills, or you can beat some other producer at beats. Music production, and especially hip hop, is competitive, but music in general is competitive. That's why we have like award ceremonies and all this stuff. Fang Pang, what's going on with you, fam? Appreciate you for stopping by. But yeah, music is competitive. music. There's not enough attention for every musician to be seen or heard. Anything in media is competitive. Let's just get it. Let's not get it twisted here. Anything in media is competitive. There's limited viewership available. There's limited listenership available. You're always competing for attention when we talk about media. It is okay for you to think you are better than another producer. And I think it's also okay for you to like say that, like, hey, I put myself up against any producer out here, and I think I can hold my own. If you actually have done the work and you feel like that, and you know that you can hold your own, it's okay for you to feel like that. And I think it's okay for DJ Quik to feel like he is the upper echelon of music production, because he is. He's one of the best hip hop producers out there. I think what he did, though, when commenting on that post, was passive aggressive, and it was in bad taste. And I hate to see that, because, like I said, I respect DJ Quik and Dr. Dre so much for what they've contributed to music and how they've inspired generations. They've deeply inspired me. I respect them so much for the musical contribution. I just don't understand like the passive aggressive thing to be like, yo, like, yeah, finally someone had the balls to say it after you kind of backtracked years ago and was like, yeah, man, stop comparing us. Like, we don't have this thing. We don't have this animosity towards each other. That's my brother, right? Then if it's your brother, then why would you post something like that for the world to see it? Because once I saw him post it, I said, oh shoot, this is going to get picked up, because people love to see drama. People absolutely love to see drama. And sure enough, it got picked up, and media started to like pick that up and repost it and all that stuff, because they want to see drama. I think media thrives off of drama today, especially like news media. Drama sells. It's just going to sell. It's big news. So they were trying to like make it a thing, and I really hope DJ Quik and Dr. Dre have like talked since that and like kind of straightened some things out, because I don't see any reason, like at their big age, I see no reason for them to be beefing. There's so many other things that they can be doing at this point. But it kind of reminded me of like I said, the kind of the hater spirit that can be, that can surface from music producers as well. Because the reality is, Dr. Dre is more visible, he's more known, and he gets more accolades than DJ Quik. That's just a fact. That's a fact. So Dr. Dre has a much deeper global impact than DJ Quik can have, because of who he's produced for and his visibility. And I think DJ Quik being one of those guys that if you know, you know, he doesn't get the accolades. He doesn't get the same level of interest and visibility that DJ Quik. DJ Quik is not getting the same accolades and visibility that Dr. Dre is getting. And that can create some kind of hate and bitterness, ultimately. Especially, DJ Quik mixed All Eyes on Me for Tupac. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that. Those that know. And that Tupac album wouldn't sound the same without DJ Quik. And I'm sure a lot of people associate that album with Dr. Dre because of California Love and all that stuff. But DJ Quik played a big role in what that album became. So it's like, Of course, DJ Quik probably feels like he's not getting the same accolades and the same recognition as a Dr. Dre. Just is what it is. But I think because of that lack of visibility, that can bring out the hater in music producers, especially when they see another producer that looks like them, that maybe even comes from the same background as them. They may see another person that's getting that accolades and that hater spirit comes out and they're like, oh my God, how come I can't get that? How come nobody sees me that same way? Some of it is politics, but some of it is deeper than that. Some of it can be like persona and personality, and there's a lot of things that come into play. I don't know DJ Quik. I don't know Dr. Dre. I've never met either one of them. So I couldn't tell you what's stopping DJ Quik from having the same accolades and recognition as a Dr. Dre. But I do know, like, there's a lot of likability politics in the music game in general. That's a big thing. Like, being well liked is often more important than being skilled. I think that's a big factor, and I wonder, if there's a big difference between the likability of a Dr. Dre versus a DJ Quik. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. But that's one of the things I start to think about is like, is Dr. Dre more likable than DJ Quik? I learned years ago, like, you kind of don't want to meet a lot of your they say never meet your heroes. I met here some of my heroes, and they were good to me, but then I met some that weren't. Now, I'm not gonna say no names. Not gonna say no names out of respect for them, because I respect them and what they've done. But I definitely had experiences where some of my heroes were like not good to me at all. Standoffish and just really like not pleasant to be around, not very likable ultimately. And it I never forgot it. I don't hate them, but I never forgot the experience. um no, I'm not gonna put folks on blast, because I just don't think it's in good taste, and that's what I'm talking about with the DJ Quik thing. I didn't think it was in good taste what he said about Dr. Dre. He didn't need to say that, especially not on a public platform. He didn't need to say that. I wish he didn't say that. Yeah. So I've seen this hater spirit come out. Also seeing it come out recently with Bink. And some of you guys know Bink from all the way back to like the Lost Boys, and of course, like his breakout was during the Blueprint, like all the rulers back. Like he started to innovate with like drum programming and orchestration and composition in hip hop production. He's definitely an innovator, and he is responsible for a sound that I would say greatly inspired people like Just Blaze and Justice League and many others. Bink has probably been overlooked a lot as a music producer. Bink doesn't get the same accolades and respect as a Just Blaze. A lot of producers put Just Blaze on a pedestal for sure. Bink doesn't get that. And I think that is part of the problem. And I think on a deeper level, um, Bink may feel that Just Blaze stole his sound. Now, I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't there. I don't know how the whole blueprint thing and all that stuff transpired and what was going on and how the sessions went and who had access to it. I don't know none of that stuff. I don't know that backstory. But what I can tell you is I know, because I know Bink has talked about how he feels that Just Blaze is one of the producers that stole his sound, that drum programming and the way he composed music and whatnot. He feel like Just Blaze stole that sound. And Just Blaze kind of became known for having that sound more than Bink. Unfortunately. Again, I don't know if that has anything to do, what politics that has to do with it. It could be likability politics. It could be all kind of other stuff. Don't know. But over the years, I know Bink has displayed a lot of disdain for Just Blaze. And then later he started to show disdain for other producers like Justice League, who he also feels stole his sound. And, was responsible for a lot of the Rick Ross music, like the Maybach music series. And I think, there's some. Bink has the right to feel like he hears elements of stuff that he did in someone else's work. He has the right to point that out and say that I feel like you took that from me, or I feel like that's part of my sound. You can say that. But I think there's some folly to that and some delusion to that as well. And we'll get into that. But I think one of the challenges with the Bink conversation, we're gonna bring it forward, is Bink continues to kind of like attack producers online, especially. He really seems to have an issue with producers online that talk about techniques and kind of explore his sound as a way to teach music producers about music production. Because I've seen situations where like smaller YouTube channels have been approached by Bink and requested that they take down the content because the producer is using Bink's music as a form to study in an expository way and provide information to a younger audience about music production. And I don't think Bink like that. Bink wants to gatekeep. So I've seen people take down content related to Bink and his style. So bringing that forward now, this past week I saw Bink was getting into a bit of a back and forth with my guy Mars from 1500 or Nothing. And I don't know the whole history on that. I couldn't tell you the whole history on what was going on. But what I saw was that Bink basically made a repost where he was talking about gatekeeping. And essentially, let me see if I could pull it up. Let me see if I can find this post. Because I think, I don't, like I said, I don't know what the whole root of the conversation is. But I do know he tagged my guy Mars in this post and was like, hey, basically saying you need to gatekeep more as well. You talk too much about production and you tell people too much. This post here, I'm gonna pull it up because I think it'll give context, so I'm not just talking, but this post here was something that Bink tagged Mars in, my guy Mars, from 1500 or nothing. This particular post was, it really was telling about just the state of music producers in general and the way that they think about other music producers, unfortunately. And just the passive aggressive behavior that happens with a music producer that doesn't feel like he is getting his just due as a music producer. It is actually pretty disturbing. And I think it's it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
Josh, where did you get your, and why won't you tell me? I gatekeep. It's exclusive pleasure. It's a part of life that I've discovered that you can't get. Well, you got it. I want it. The fact that you don't have it is the best part. Brother, sister, do you understand what I'm saying? I searched high and low to get this thing that you don't have. If you had it, I'd probably throw it away. Do you understand what I'm saying? This gate is being kept if I'm the one keeping it. I wouldn't share the word of the Lord with you if it hit me that good. You should have came to church, sister. When we were kids, they said sharing is caring. I don't care. And I don't share. That's just not.
Okay, so that's the post. And basically in the caption here, what Bink says is, "Thank you, East Coast Mikey." I guess that's the original creator. This video is dedicated to this new wave of nosy biters. Real tastemakers don't share their secrets. Now, originally, that post tagged my guy Mars. Originally. Now, it looks like he's taking that off now, which I'm glad. Hopefully they resolved it. But I thought it was just like, it was bad taste for Bink to like tag my guy Mars. And the only thing I could think is that maybe Bink has a problem with my guy Mars because of him being connected to 1500 or nothing, who also played on the Show Me What You Got, produced by Just Blaze, right? And we know Bink had a problem with Just Blaze, so it's like, okay, does he also have a problem with 1500 by virtue of them also being players on Show Me What You Got? I don't know. I thought it was in bad taste, and I thought it just really reflected that super bitter hater mentality that a lot of producers can get when they see somebody else getting more accolades and more visibility ultimately, right? I think that's a terrible place to be as a music producer, is basically hating on anybody that looks like you, that's getting accolades, that's getting opportunities, or getting opportunities that you believe you should be getting. Because let's not get it twisted. I think Bink mainly feels like the industry preferred certain producers over him with his sound, as he calls it. He believes that his sound was being favored, but not from him. So then people start to hate, or he starts to hate, and just, he's been on like this bitter rant for a long time, and I don't like that for him at all. I hate that for him because he's too talented of a producer to be stuck like that. And I think, I was talking to another producer this morning about it. One of the things that's important is that, people need to be willing to accept that when you release music, you released it for the world. And the world is going to be able to listen to it. They're going to be able to evaluate it. They're going to be able to study it, analyze it, and it will become a part of the culture where people can talk about it academically. And I think this is the important part, right? This is what I want to get to, is like the delusion of Bink in this conversation is that his music is something that can be gate kept as far as technique is concerned. I think that's delusional, because like one of the things that is a key aspect of being a musician and learning music is is developing the ability to transcribe. Being able to transcribe music, meaning being able to listen to a song and figure out the notes and the timing, and being able to write that down from listening and write it down as sheet music. That is like a key element of being a musician, is this ability to transcribe music, right? I would say a lot of the great musicians can do that. And if not, like, transcribe it as far as writing it down, they can listen to a song and figure out the notes of a song and then be able to play it from memory. Some musicians have a photographic memory, like, and can listen to a song and retain it and be able to like get on their instrument and figure out the notes and then be able to play it. So once you release a song, it's open to be transcribed at minimum by a musician. And then going a little bit further with sound and sonics and whatnot. First of all, none of us created music. None of us created sound. Some of us create certain instruments, but that's like 0.00001% of the music community is actually creating instruments. So most of us didn't create any instruments that we play. We haven't created any of the signal processing hardware or the audio recording hardware, any of that stuff. We learn to use the stuff, and over years we develop a mastery in the art form of sound creation, sound recording, sound mixing, etc. Once you get a certain skill level, you can listen to sound. You can listen to sound and then be able to identify where certain sounds come from and how they were processed. I have the ability to do that. I can listen to somebody's mix and talk about potential ways that the sounds were achieved, what they probably used, what they used to process it. You can even tell by certain recordings what era they may have mixed and mastered the sound in. So I can tell a lot of stuff from listening to music, because I have acquired the skill of being able to listen to music and identify what's going on. So once a song is out there, I can listen to it and study it. And the reality is, the way music is taught, like traditional music, classical music, whatever type of music, it is taught by listening to music and breaking down what different musicians, composers, and whatnot have done. You might get into their style, their phrasing, their voicing, their rhythmic characteristics. You'll do all that when you're teaching people how to play music. That is part of teaching. So, Beat GPT, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate the follow as well. um, as you learn how to, as you're teaching, you study those things about the music that you're using to teach your students, and you will expose all of those elements to your students. That's just how teaching music, teaching engineering, anything works. You're going to use some examples, you're going to use some references, and you're going to go from there. That's the reality of it. So I think Bink is delusional about how music and teaching works. There's no gatekeeping. Like you think that you're doing something so advanced that no one has the ability to listen to it, deconstruct it, and then reconstruct it and teach it. You think that you're doing something that's that advanced that no one else in the world could ever figure it out. That, my friend, is delusional. That is absolutely delusional. So I think that that's the part of him that I'm just like, I don't understand fully. I don't understand why he lives in that delusion where no one else can figure out and talk about what he's doing as an example of one form of music, by the way. I don't know why he lives in that space and why he gets so frustrated that people want to talk about some of his music as an example of how to play and create music. So I think he's delusional there. But I think the other thing is that, and one of my buddies said that today, it's like, what has he done since then? As far as like growth, right? I think that's an important question. Like, is he growing? Is he staying a step ahead or multiple steps ahead of his competition? I don't know. I don't know all that he's doing. He may be. I just don't know enough. But I think one thing's for sure. I think if you are several steps ahead of the competition, you wouldn't keep complaining about people took anything from you from 20 years plus. Like, you would be well beyond that. You would be so much further beyond that where it's like, they can have that. That's my old stuff. That's my old stuff. That's cool. Like, because the reality is all the greats have people doing expository breakdowns and case studies and all kind of stuff on them. Like, man, how many tutorials exist out there about Dr. Dre and how to do J Dilla beats and how to do DJ Premier beats and Kanye West beats and even like DJ Battle Cat beat. If you go on YouTube right now, there are tons of videos on pretty much any name producer that has made an impact. So many out there. And these are not tutorials that any of those producers have co-signed or contributed to. Once the music is out there, people can dissect it and understand it and teach it. That's the reality of it. But to act like, Bink is just like at a level where he can just say nobody can duplicate my style and nobody can teach. That's crazy. I'm sorry. That is delusional talk. That is delusional talk. Arguably, producers like Dr. Dre, DJ Premier, Dilla have contributed more to hip hop than Bink, arguably. And if those guys have a whole bunch of tutorials and stuff and people using that style and whatnot to learn music and to create music, then Bink really should not think that that's not going to happen to him. It's happening to the best of the best. The top of the top are getting copied and duplicated and whatnot. So of course it's gonna happen to Bink. Like that's the reality of it. So I don't know. I felt like that's delusion. I hate that for him. I hope that he gets past that. I hope that he just focuses on continuing to push forward as a creative. He's a creative guy. He has everything it takes to like keep pushing forward. So like to keep focusing on his style from 20 years ago, it's just like something else is up, man. And you know, I pray for the brother too. I pray that he doesn't stay in that space because that's a negative space to stay in. And I think that puts you in a very bitter position where you don't really achieve everything that you need to achieve and you don't show up as the best version of yourself when you stay bitter about someone taking from you or, you know, emulating what you're doing and kind of getting the accolades and all that stuff.